Hello and welcome to the video by Trump Excel. I'm Sumit Bansal, and in this video I'm going to show you how to append multiple Excel tables into one consolidated table using Power Query. Here in this workbook I have 4 sheets: East, West, North and South, and in each sheet I have an Excel table which has the sales data for July 2018. Now, what I want to do is I want to combine all these regions sales data into one consolidated report. Now, what I can do is I can copy paste this data one below the other and have it. But let's say next month I get new data for each of these regions, then I would have to do that again. So first of all, that process is tedious and it's also error prone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Power Query to combine this data and automate this process in such a way that next month when I get new data, I can simply refresh Power Query and get the consolidated report, and I don't have to manually copy paste this data. So to do that, first I need to get this data, these tables data, into Power Query. So to do that, I would click on any of these data tables, go to Data tab and click on From Table Range. Since it's already an Excel table, it would directly open this data in the query editor. And here you can see the name of this is the same as the name of my table, and I have this data here. Now, what I want to do is make sure that this data is saved as a connection. So I don't want to load this data into a worksheet in Excel. Rather, I want to save it as a connection so that I can access this using Power Query and I can use this to append the tables. But there is one problem with this data set. Nowhere it says that this is the data for East region. So I know that the name of the query is East, but when I combine all those tables, I would not know whether this record is from East or West or North or South. So what I need is I need an additional column here that mentions the region. And to do that, I would have to go to the Add Column tab here and click on Custom Column. Now here I have to name this column. I would call this region, but make sure whatever name it is consistent for all the tables. And now when I type East here in double quotes and click OK, it would insert a column with the text East as the region, and I can simply drag this and put it at the beginning of this table. Now you can see all these steps have already been recorded because Power Query works as a recorder which keeps a track of the steps that I follow and keeps noting these steps. Now what I need to do is I need to go to the File tab, and instead of close and load, because if I close and load, I choose this option, it would insert the new worksheet and put this data in the new worksheet. But I don't want that, so I would go to Close and Load to, and this opens the Import Data dialog box. Now in Power Query, what I can do is I can load the data in an Excel table in the new worksheet. I can load the data in Pivot Table Report as a pivot chart, or I can create a connection only, and I would create a connection only. So I click OK. Here you can see East underscore data connection only has been created. A connection is something that can be accessed by Power Query. I can use this data in Power Query, but it's not occupying space on my workbook. There is no additional tab. This data is nowhere to be seen in the workbook. Now I have to do this for all of these tables. So I would go to West in Data tab, go to From Table Range. Here I would go to Add Column, Custom Column, and here I would type the column name as region, and I would name the region as West here within double quotes. Remember to keep the double quotes. Make sure that there is a green tick here. If there is no green tick here, then which means that there is some syntax error in whatever you're typing here. It could be a formula, as we would see in the next videos, or it's text in double quotes. Now when I click OK, it inserts this column. I would drag it to the beginning of this data, go to File, Close and Load to, only create connection, and you can see West underscore data is created. Similarly, I'll do it for North. Let me quickly do it now. So I go to Add Column, Custom Column. This is region and this is North. I would drag this to the beginning, go to File, Close and Load to connection, and similarly I can go to South, From Table, Add Column, region, this is South now, click OK, drag this to the beginning, go to File, Close and Load to, only create connection. Now I have all these 4 connections, and what I need to do is combine these. So to do that, I can go to the Get Data tab. In the Data tab, I have this Get Data option, and I have Combined Queries, where I have the Append option. When I click on the Append option, it opens this Append dialog box. You can also get the same thing here. So if I click on any of these queries and go to Append, it'll again open the same dialog box. If you have 2 tables, you can use this option, but because I have 4, I would use this option here. And East data is already here in the list because I used East data to get the append option. So I would select the remaining 3 and click on add. If you want to change the order, you can do that by clicking and using these arrows. Remember that while appending the data, it would follow this sequence. So first we would have data from East, and then West, and then North and South. And now when I click OK, it'll open this data in the query editor, and I have the entire data set. And you can see I have the region column as well, which was not there originally in my data. And what I can do is, if I want to transform this data here, I can do that. So for example, in case of date column, if you don't want the time, you can go to transform and change this to date. Similarly, if you want the commission in percentages, you can come here and change this to percentage. And now I can load this data in my Excel workbook. So to do that, I would go to File, Close and Load to, because now I want this data as an Excel table in the workbook. So when I click on Close and Load, it inserts a new sheet, and now I have the entire data set. And you can see I have the region column as well, which was not there originally in this. Now, when next month you get new data for August 2018, then you can simply copy paste that data here on each of these regions, come to sheet 1 and simply refresh it. And when you refresh it, it would give you the new consolidated report for August 2018. And similarly, you can do it for any month. Now, in this case, just make sure that your data is consistent. So for example, in this, your column headers are consistent. So for example, in this case, you can see it's date, item, sales rep, all these are the same in each of these tables. But what happens if it's not the same here? So let's say if I come here and this is sale date in West, but in others, it's simply date. What happens? I come to my Power Query here, and when I create this query, it would show me an error. And you can see it's showing me an error now because in West data, it expected date, but it got sale date. So what I have to do is I can simply go to the query there in the West data, go to the source step and change this from sale date to date. And it would insert a new step here in between mentioning that I've changed the name. So when I hit enter, it shows me this insert step, and I'm okay with this step because it will be inserted here, and it makes this date. So now it has become consistent, and now I can close this and keep the changes and see what happens. Now it's consistent, and now there is no error here. So in case the headers are not consistent, one option is you make them consistent while you're copy pasting the data. But if that is taking you a lot of time, you can make these consistent in the queries. And once you have made them consistent in the query, you don't need to do that again and again. So this is how you can combine multiple Excel tables into one consolidated Excel table using Power Query. That's it in this video. I hope you found this useful. Thank you and have a nice day.